The rivalry for me was the day before when you look at your guy at the weigh-in, you've got to hate him.
I've known Jeff since I was born, essentially, because he's always been present in Australian sport and particularly in Australian boxing. So now to be friends with him or rivals today, it's a real privilege.
Ben and I ever disagreed on anything? We may have.
Jeff's one of the greatest boxers of all time, and he's also completely crazy. So yeah, we've disagreed. I think he's disagreed with everyone he's ever met, but at the end of it all, he's a really passionate bloke. He's a legend, and he's a really good fella as well.
I'm Chris Danks of Sporting News Australia, and today for our final episode, we're uniting Jeff Fenech and Ben Damon around the flame, all thanks to BBQ's Galore. Come on in, guys.
Hey Chris, how are you, mate?
Chris,
Jeff,
Ben,
good to see you, mate.
you two always.
Boys, we're talking the greatest rivalries in boxing. Jeff, you're obviously no stranger to a war of words.
How's he here as my rival? Although you've said a few bad things about me.
Well, we'll get to it.
We'll get through it.
But everyone obviously knows probably the most famous rivalry for you with Azuma Nelson. Can you give us a bit of the backstory?
They're friends too, though.
Best of friends, I heard.
Yeah, I'm not sure about a rivalry. Just we had our first fight, which out of 12 rounds, I can honestly say I think I won 10.
Yep.
And the judges gave it a draw. Zuma says he won, which is total bullcrap. For anybody to say that, if you've been in a fight and you come out like that, because in the last round I just about knocked him out anyway, but to say that he even thought he won was disappointing.
Chris, the rivalry in that first fight in Las Vegas was between Jeff Fenech and the judges, really, and between Jeff Fenech and Don King. Jeff Fenech against Azuma Nelson won. That's the jewel in the crown of boxing rivalries.
And everybody that I've ever spoken throughout the whole world knows I won the first Azuma Nelson fight.
And you know, one of the judges never judged again because he was so embarrassed by the card that he'd turned in that fight.
Yeah, good fact. What about something a little bit more recent? There was obviously when Anthony Mundine called you out on ACA. We tried to get Chock here today, but he didn't want to. I had a few other
my
guys.
place.
Didn't want to. Yeah, love what you've done with the pool, by the way. What is it about you and Anthony Mundine? What was the rivalry there?
Back then we had a huge rivalry because he was in the weight division. I had a lot of the boys fighting, Nader Hampton, Ian McLeod, and some other boys in the similar division, and I just kind of thought that when he first came over the sport that he was really rude, arrogant, and I didn't think that he deserved the kudos and the credit that he was getting. I thought, so I stood up for my boys. I stood up for the sport of boxing. I've actually, in this area, cracked an egg on my head to say that I deserved that when he had won a couple of his fights. I was first one to put my hand up and say that he surprised me on a few occasions. But also on a few occasions, I've been proven very right about him. And when he fought Jeff Horn and other fights, and even today, for him to even consider to still fight, he's a slur on the people around him, on the sport, because his days are well and truly over.
What is it about boxing that seems that with rivalries, they tend to go past the fight? They have quite a long tail to them.
Well, there's a lot of physicality in the sport, isn't there? So when you're getting in there against someone you obviously don't like already, if you're going to punch each other in the face, it's not going to go away, is it? You're going to leave the ring going, oh, I wouldn't mind doing that again, or I should have had that done to me a little bit less. But Jeff's had a lot of them. He had incredible rivalries through his boxing career and out of the ring as well. He's fallen foul of people and come back on side. But now we've gone back to thinking that Jeff Fenech is one of our true legends, and it's a great place for him to be.
Guys, we talk about rivalries. Jeff, for you, who sticks out as like your top three?
My top one would be Leonard Duran.
Okay.
Mickey Ward or Turo Gaddy. Ben, I'll let you pick
Well, you've got to go Ali Fraser.
Ali Fraser for sure.
You have to. Like the incredible fights that they had between the two of them, and anyone that Ali fought, it was going to be magnetic and incredible, but he found his perfect rival, and so often in boxing, that's what you need.
Now, before we chuck some food on the barbie, I just want to have a quick chat. I've also got the Sydney Super Fight coming up, December 16. We talk a little bit about rivalries. Is that just something that you have to have before, because you have to sell the fight?
Between Paul Gallen and Mark Hunt, I think initially because they're friends, they're people who've been fans of each other through the course of their careers, it was a little bit manufactured, or at least it was meant to be, but now it's not. There's a real feeling of disrespect for Paul Gallen from some of the things that Mark Hunt has been saying. He's essentially treating it a little bit, Paul thinks, as a speed bump for him, as someone who's a lot lesser than him that he's going to walk through, and then he's going to have a few more fights. But Paul doesn't like being treated like that. He's gone into this boxing career as a footy player who boxes, but as he's gone on and on, he's got better and better, and now he's going to be a lot fitter in this fight. But Mark Hunt, he can punch, so he's going to have to weather that storm and get through it, and then try and get that respect out of Mark Hunt.
The funniest thing, or the greatest thing about the sport of boxing, when that time comes, you can obviously really, really hate that guy that you're going to fight, For me, as soon as the bell rang, it was totally forgotten. It was like, it was joyous. Whether I won or lost, I just appreciated what I knew I went through. So if I went through it, I knew that he went through it, and I think that's what makes the sport of boxing so amazing.
Alrighty, while we're waiting for that to warm up, Jeff, you're a well-connected man. You also saw Mike Tyson. He's now a non-vegan. You're going to be inviting him around for a barbecue anytime soon?
If he was here, definitely so. We love the barbecue, and I love cooking.
I mean, you look at this setup you've got here, it seems like it's perfectly set up for summer. What do you usually throw on the barbie when you're having people over?
A variation, beautiful meats, and obviously chicken, but I like the sausages as well.
Okay.
What are we doing today?
We're doing a bit of Portuguese chicken.
Oh, okay. Yeah, very nice. Well, Jeff shouldn't get too close to the barbecue because his heart is made of pig after what happened last year, so could go up in flames.
Oh, wait, there's nothing better than a bit of pig on the barbie.
Exactly.
We're always there. So what we're going to do, we're going to get it up to about 260. Chuck it either side. I've already basted it, so it should be ready to go. Just give
You
it a
basted
quick
it?
check. I certainly did.
What did you baste it in?
So it was a mixture of, we had some chili, we had some lemon juice,
Okay.
had a bit of garlic in there, a bit of olive oil.
Oh, you've been busy.
Four horsemen of deliciousness.
I'm looking forward to it. Great.
Looking forward to it. All right, let's see what we got. Let's say it's Wednesday, it's super fight. You've controversially called in sick. Probably not going to go down too well. Who are you going to have?
Oh, I'm going to wheel up the barbecue to ringside. We're going to whack on some steaks. Jeff will be there with me. We can call the fights in between rounds. We can have a little bite to eat. Mark Hunt maybe will come down the stairs, have a bite as well. I think it'll be a really good atmosphere on a big night.
What about you, Jeff?
I don't know. Maybe we'll invite Danny Green and Chuck Mundine down to celebrate with us, and
I think that'd be good fun. Get them all on opposite sides of the barbecue, but Jeff, Danny, Chock, I think it'll be a really, really good night. Who knows what might happen?
There'll be a lot more arguing than eating, I think, Ben.
It could be.
Boys, I don't want to brag too much. I think I've timed this perfectly. Great thing about the Ziggy trip. So this is our 5th episode now. So I've had a little bit of experience with it. Holds its heat awesome. 7-year comprehensive warranty, starts first time, every time.
Barbecues galore, the best.
Mate, Portuguese chicken, it's coming up. Super excited. Boys, before we tuck in, just a quick thanks for joining us around the flame today. It's good to talk a little bit of fight game. Huge few months coming up.
Absolute pleasure. We should do this more often.
Certainly should. Next time I probably won't be cooking. Although I think I've done pretty well on the Portuguese chicken.
Looks very good.
I'm happy with it.
Yeah.
And of course, thank you to Barbecues Galore. Now you're cooking.
I'll drink the barbecues galore.